everybody, welcome to the Marley Bird YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to tell you about a brand new yarn called Mixology. It is new to Red Heart, and what they've done is they've taken 3 unique yarns, one solid, one print, and one swirl, and they've made it so that way no matter which one you mix and match together, you're going to get the same gauge. Isn't that awesome? So I know that for me, when I worked at the local yarn shop, people would come in and they'd want to make blankets or they'd want to make a throw or a shawl, and they never knew what yarn to combine together. Well, Red Heart has taken all the work out of it for you. They have put together some really great on-trend colorways and some really fantastic yarns that are super bulky, so they work up really fast. And they have reached out to some of the top designers in the industry to come up with some really fun patterns using this yarn. One of which is the retro throw, which is what I'm going to show you today. Look at this, guys. Look how gorgeous this is. The colors of this throw, in and of themselves, I'm telling you, I wanted to take this directly from the office when I saw it. I was just like, I'm never going to send this back. You're never going to get this again. So I am lucky enough that they have sent me enough yarn to make one for myself, and they have sent me some other colorways besides this colorway that they have chosen here, to be able to show you how to do this awesome feather and fan pattern. Look down here, I'm going to show you what you need to get started. The first thing I want you to do is go to redheart.com and download the pattern for the Retro Knit Throw by Julie Farmer. I'm going to put a link to it down in the video notes as well, so you don't have to go searching for it. Once you have the pattern, all you need to do is gather your materials. Take a look at all of the Mixology colors and pick and choose which ones are going to work for you. You're going to need 3 balls of the swirl, 3 balls of the print, and 2 balls of each solid color, and you need 3 different colors. Once you have those, you're also going to need a pair of size 17 knitting needles. Now, the 17 knitting needles, I want you to get circulars. Now, the reason I want you to have circulars, you guys, is because we're going to work a lot of stitches, and if we have those all crammed onto a straight needle, it's really difficult to work on. But if we work with circulars as if they're straights, it makes things so much easier. I'm going to also include that I want you guys to have 2 stitch markers, and I want the stitch markers to be in different colors. You can see I have one here that's like an orangey yellow color and one that's a blue. Last but not least, grab yourself a good pair of scissors and we can get started. All right, so you've gathered your materials and you're ready to begin. The first thing I want to mention is that for this video, I'm going to be using a smaller stitch count than the actual throw. You can still follow along this video with the throw count by casting on 80 stitches. If you want to follow along with the smaller stitch count like I'm doing, you'll need to cast on 26 stitches. Now, the best cast on, in my opinion, for this particular throw is the long tail cast on. If you need a refresher on how to do the long tail cast on, please go check out the long tail cast on video right here on the Marley Bird YouTube channel. Because this particular pattern is an easy pattern, I'm assuming you already know how to cast on, how to knit, and how to purl. So for the purposes of this video, I want to show you the action row, which is the lace row and creates the ripple effect of the feather and fan in this throw. Look down here, I'm going to show you what I mean. If you look at this swatch, you can see that I've already begun with my 26 stitches. I have my 4 stitches here that are all garter stitch. I've placed a marker after my first 4 stitches because that is my visual clue that these first 4 stitches are always going to be knit. You'll see I've also placed a marker down here before the last 4 stitches because those are always going to be knit. I like to have visual clues to tell me, okay, don't forget these last 4 are knit. You don't want to do anything else to them. And so that's why I add them. I have also made them a different color because it helps me to know, okay, if I pick up my work and I'm looking at this orange yellow color, I know I'm on the right side of my fabric. If I pick up my work and I'm looking at the blue color, I know I'm on the wrong side of my fabric. It's just another little trick that I use to make sure that I am able to keep track in my pattern. What I've done here is you can see I have all of these tails. After you complete a row of, or the sequence of colors that you need to do. You're going to cut that yarn and then start knitting the next row with whatever the new color is in the color sequence as it's written in the pattern. When you do that, you always want to make sure you're leaving at least 4 to 6 inches of tail, okay? Just trust me on this. It's going to make things so much easier when you go to weave in all your ends if you leave yourself a little bit of length to your tail, okay? The first thing you're going to do in this particular pattern is you start off with the swirl yarn, and you'll cast on the number of stitches if you're following the actual blanket or if you're following my wrap. When you cast on your number of stitches, you're going to go ahead and you're going to knit 4 rows. Okay, so you cast on and then you knit 4 rows and you jump into the pattern. Now the pattern that they have written out is a 4-row repeat. And what's really great is so far in my pattern as I have down here, every color change here is 4 rows. So you can easily see, oh look, right here in this gray, that's my 4-row repeat. Right here in the swirl, which is really kind of hard to see, but that's my 4-row repeat. And the same thing when it comes to the deep purple color right here. I am now on to my cream row, and I've worked 2 rows. I'm on row 3, which I like to call the action row. And the reason I'm calling it the action row is because that's where all of the knit 2 togethers and the yarn overs are going to happen to create this nice feather and fan look. I'm going to pull in a chart here that I've made up. And I made this chart up over at stitchmaps.com. And the great thing about stitchmaps.com is you put in your written instructions and it pops out this really great lace chart, and it gives the illusion, or not the illusion, it shows you how the chart or how the actual lace is going to work up as you combine the knit 2 togethers and the yarn overs. Look at this chart. Now if I move this away, look at my swatch. See how it's the exact same? Isn't that cool? So what's really awesome here is I know that if I follow along with row 1, all of those are going to be knits. I look at row 2, these dashes here, these first 4 dashes, those are knits on the wrong side. And so I know that these first 4 and these last 4, or vice versa, are always going to be knits. So they're always going to be garter stitch. And that's why I've placed my stitch markers there. See? That's why I have my stitch markers there. I can see here on row 2, as I go on, that second row, those are purls. Okay? Those are purls, and then my knits. Row 3, I have knits. I have knit 2 togethers. Yarn over, knit 1, 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 and then knit 2 togethers, and I finish off with knits. See what I mean about that being an action row? There's a whole lot of stuff going on there. What happens is with these knit 2 togethers, we're actually decreasing down stitches. So we have to add in our yarn overs so that we can get back to the same stitch count that we have. Well, what's great here is we've done knit 2 together 3 times, so we've decreased 3 stitches. And then we have 6 yarn overs. So now we've increased 6, which means we have a total of 3 more stitches than we began with, right? But when we do these next 3 knit 2 togethers, we're back down to our original stitch count. So even though we've done these decreases and increases in this row, we have the same stitch count that you began with. And that's lace. That's all lace is. It's a combination of decreases and increases, and you get a really beautiful lace look. This particular chart is going to be in the video notes down at the bottom of the page. So if you click down there, you can get to the chart and the corresponding key so that you'll know what all of the stitch symbols mean. I'm going to set this aside. And I'm going to say, okay, we have this lovely chart going, or not chart, swatch going on here. Let's see how we do that lace chart, okay? So I'm going to pick this up. I am looking at my orange stitch marker, so I know I'm on the right side, and I know I'm on a row 3 because I can see that there are 2 rows already completed. That was row 1, and this is row 2, so I'm getting ready to start row 3. You, once again, are going to use a circular needle just to accommodate the number of stitches that we're going to use for this pattern. We're still working back and forth. We just have all the stitches resting on the cord instead of jammed all up in a straight needle. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to knit my first 4 stitches. If you've been following along in my videos, you'll know that I am naturally a continental knitter, but I will show you how to do throwing as well. I've knit the first 4 and I've just slipped my marker right on over. Did you see that? My marker was right there on my left-hand needle, and I'm just moving it right over to my right-hand needle. Nothing else is going on. I'm just moving it. That was my clue that those first 4 stitches are garter and they stay that way. Now, as I follow along in my pattern, I know that I'm going to knit 2 together 3 times. So a knit 2 together is really simple. I have 2 stitches right here on my left-hand needle. I take my right-hand needle, I go into the leftmost stitch, go in like I'm going to knit, and I go into the rightmost stitch as if to knit also. I'm literally knitting these 2 stitches together. Yarn over my right-hand needle, pull that yarn over through, and let the 2 stitches that I knit jump off. I've taken 2 stitches and I've created 1. Let's see that one more time, and this time I will throw, so that way you can see what that looks like. Same action, I have 2 stitches here, take my right-hand needle, go into the left side of the second stitch, and I'm going to go in as if to knit that one and the one that was closest to the tip of the needle. I yarn over my right-hand needle just like I normally would when I knit, pull that through, let those 2 stitches jump off. Okay, so I've taken 2 stitches and made them into 1. One last time, because we have to do that 3 times, remember. So I go into the 2 stitches, yarn over, come out and off. So now I have 3 stitches. And now it's time for me to do my increases with my yarn over and knit 1. So a yarn over is really simple, you guys. Right now as you knit, your yarn is in the back of your work. For a yarn over, all you're going to do is come between your needles, go over your right-hand needle and go back to the back. Now you're in a position again to knit, right? That's what we want. Just this simple thread right there laying over top of my needle is my yarn over. I don't want to let that fall off. I want it to stay there. If you are a new knitter, you've probably accidentally done this before. This time we're just doing it on purpose. I'm going to my next stitch on my left-hand needle and I'm knitting it. So now you can see I had 3. This was the loop that I just rested on there for my yarn over, and that's my new knit stitch. And I have to do that again. That was 1. So I come in front and come back. So I'm ready to knit again, and I knit my next stitch. And I've done my increase and I have my knit. Get myself some more yarn here. I'm going to do that a couple more times. I've got to do it a total of 6 times. So I've created 2 increases. I'm going to yarn over my needle and go ahead and knit the next stitch. Yarn over my needle, knit the next stitch. Yarn over my needle, knit the next stitch. And then I have 1 more, I do believe. Yarn over my needle and knit the next stitch. Now for me, if I were like, okay, I'm not sure how many stitches I've done, here's a little trick that you can do. If I set this down and I stretch out the stitches, you can tell which stitches are knit and which ones are yarn overs. The yarn overs have a big space underneath the needle because there's not a stitch that they're working into. They're just a yarn resting over top of the needle, correct? So if I set this down and I want to count my yarn overs, I would just look for them. Let's say there's my knit, there's 1 yarn over, there's 2 yarn over, there's 3 yarn over, here's 4, here's 5, and there's 6. And I go on, and those are my knit 2 togethers. So I've completed my 6 yarn overs. That's how you can go back and check if you've completed yours. Now it's time for me to knit 2 together 3 times again. So we've already done this. I'm not going to do this part slow because it's just like we did before. I'm taking 2 stitches and making them into 1. But remember, because I did those 6 yarn overs, we are still going to have the same stitch count at the end of our row. Right? I'm to my next marker, so if I slip my marker, that's my clue that my last 4 stitches are knit. So I go ahead and I knit those stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, that's row 3. I go on to row 4 of the stitch pattern, which is really simple, isn't it? Because it's just knit. I really don't have to worry too much about it. I'm going to show you how to knit into those yarn overs though, so that way if it's a little confusing, you know how to do it, okay? So right here at the very beginning, once again, I keep those first 4 and the last 4 stitches as knit. So I'm going to go ahead and knit these 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slip my marker, and now that marker, it's blue, so I know that I'm on my wrong side, which I already knew before, but if I needed a reminder, I have it right there. And I'm just going to knit to the end. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm knitting all the stitches just as if they're just normal old stitches. So this is where I'm going to come up to my yarn over. Now you see my yarn over right there, how it looks like it's just a string resting there on my needle? if this were anything else where I wasn't doing lace, I could be like, oh man, I accidentally messed up. But we created that yarn over. We want it to be there. So we're gonna knit it just like we would any other stitch. I go into it, yarn over my needle, pull out a loop, put out my stitch, and there we go. And I carry on. So I knit the next one, and I met to the yarn over, and I knit it just like normal again. You're gonna do this all the way down the row, and that completes your first full stitch pattern repeat, okay? So we've went through 4 rows, and then it would be time to check the color sequence to see if we need to change colors. If we do, we would cut our tail of the cream, and we would leave at least 4 to 6 inches and rejoin with our new color. So I'm gonna show you how to do that here at the end of this row. I'm gonna finish my knits all the way down, and my yarn keeps wanting to get tangled up on me here. I'm to my marker just about, knit that one, slip my marker, knit the last 4 stitches. And if I look at my color sequence, I know it's time for me to change colors to the print colorway. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna grab my scissors. Remember I said you needed sharp scissors. I'm gonna leave at least 4 to 6 inches and snag my yarn, just cut it. I'm gonna put the cream away, the ivory, and I'm gonna grab the print, and I'm gonna rejoin. Now, here's something that I do. The first thing you're gonna learn when you learn to knit is never to put knots in your knitting, right? So what am I gonna tell you to do? I'm gonna tell you to put a knot in your knitting. With the understanding that before you go to tucking your ends, you're gonna take this knot out, okay? What I've just done is I've taken my yarn, the yarn I wanna join onto. Here's the yarn that I just finished. I'm gonna set it down. Here's the yarn I wanna join on. And I'm just tying a simple, like I'm just tying it to it. You see that? All that's gonna do, it just keeps the yarn in place for me so that it doesn't dangle around, and I find it easier to do that. But I want to remind you once again, you're gonna undo that knot before you go to weave in your ends. Don't leave that knot there, it's kind of unsightly. Once you do that, all you do is you hang on to the new yarn you have attached, and you carry on in pattern, which row 1 is, you would knit all the way back down. Okay, now you know how to make the retro knit throw by Julie Farmer. This is a really fun pattern, and I'm telling you guys, it's super soft and really super warm. This yarn is really a lot of fun. Mixology. You can find it over at redheart.com and at most stores out there. When you get to it, you're gonna amaze all of your friends by saying, I know this yarn, I know how to put it together. You can choose the solids or the prints or the swirls and mix and match them and create something really unique for you. I'm super excited about the 26 stitches that I used for this little swatch in the purple colorways because they match perfectly with my son's Pee Wee football team. So I'll be able to throw it on and cheer for them this winter when I'm outside. It's gonna be really lovely. If you make this throw, please show me what you've made, what colors you chose. I am available over at Facebook at the Marley Bird Facebook page, or on Instagram or on Twitter. You can find me just about anywhere in the social media world. It's a lot of fun out there, and we do a lot of games and we give away prizes. And so yeah, I'd love to have you join me. I hope you enjoyed this video and you'll come back for more. As my kids say, please smash that like button and tell your friends all about the Marley Bird channel. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.